Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Astroneer Glitchwalker series. Today we pick up the action on Ailuz, and I think that's the pronunciation I'm going to stick with. We are in the process of, I don't know, hacking the planet, I guess you could say. So get yourself strapped in, get your favourite Astroneer outfit going, and we will get things underway. Now, we're starting this episode off with a couple of, I don't know, housekeeping items. We're just going to get a couple of the basic printers set up. I'm sure at some point we are going to want some printers for producing vehicles and larger items, so, may as well get them going now. So we have that medium printer on a base. We're now spitting out a bigger printer. And yeah, we're just all about getting a few odds and sods squared away. Now, today's mission is to see if we can work out what's going on with these, cryptographic type things that we need to do. We know that we've got to gather a bit more storm data, and once we've grabbed some more storm data and we've loaded that into the required receptacle on the hab unit there, it will allow us to sort of max out. I think there's a total of 16 units. I don't know that we need all 16 units, but me being the completionist person that I am, that is what we're going to aim for. We're probably about halfway, or maybe just shy of... Oh, actually, no, I think we've got slightly more than half of them at the moment. We're going to go back into the storm here and grab a few more. Once that's done, I believe we will be able to get ourselves the required hacking key thing printed out. And at this, up to this point, and even probably almost halfway through this episode, I was proceeding on a kind of a false assumption about one of the items in the game. And it was one of these, and honestly, this entire episode and the episode before could be categorized as, did you look at the entire structure? Yes, see where that ends up going later in the episode, but anyway, we're back here in the storm. We have our little generator set up. We had to relocate the Ruby module so we could get more storm data, because we only get the storm data when she's set up in one of those little mini tornado type things. We're going alright. Looks like we're about to run out of power on our generators, which is why I brought the organic with me, because I knew there probably wouldn't have been enough there to finish the job. And just to be extra annoying, the tornado does move around a bit. Luckily, it only moved about 3 inches to the left, so our existing positioning works fine. And of course the storm peters out. Doesn't matter. We got 8 lots of storm data. That is probably enough to start working with. But for the moment, we're just going to have a little quick look around. We can see over here that there is a little tornado down there, and I was thinking about relocating down there. And then I realised, yeah, I've still got to deal with suffocation, and the run from back there to outside is probably a little bit too far. So for the moment, I've just after a few little reviews, I don't think we're going to move anything for now. We are just going to accept our win. But then, of course, I come back and the tornado's relocated somewhere a bit useful. So, yeah, if you've got in your playthrough, if you've got pesky tornadoes that move around, I don't think it's completely worth moving Ruby anything more than the bare minimum. Simply because if you wait long enough, there's probably going to be another little tornado come along fairly close to where you're already set up. So, yeah, that's if you're electing to use the fixed gathering method that I'm using at the moment. If you're a bit luckier or it's a bit later in the game for you and you've got access to a vehicle, obviously that's going to be a much better solution. Now, the highly observant ones of you would have noticed that as I dropped those first two bits of storm data in there, they didn't dematerialize in the spot that I plugged it in. They actually jumped over to a different position on the same structure. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Yeah, they're sort of jumping off to the immediate left of where I'm plugging them in. I still didn't really notice that per se. And I'm looking around, I'm going like, hang on, there's another interface that I remember seeing in the previous session. And I'm trying to work out how I get back to it. And it was kind of annoying me there for a bit because it wasn't part of the mission. It wasn't part of the default terminal on the HAB unit. It was obviously something a little bit different, and I couldn't work out for the life of me where that interface had come from. I'm pretty sure it got presented as I finished a mission previously, but then it doesn't get offered up at any other stage. So again, I'm kind of scratching my head here a little bit, but we continue with our getting some basics underway. So we've got a research chamber here. We are just going to do like we always do, have one piece of research running, we have two more pieces sort of queued up, and it'll just slowly, nibble away while it's got power, and we get a few bytes out of it. So hopefully that will pay some dividends later on, but for the moment, it can just chew away in the background there. We're all good. Now, we're looking at getting another platform because we know we're probably going to need a smelter and, I don't know, whatever else that we need, possibly the next printer up as well. So having platforms ready to go is definitely a good plan. Not to mention having the printer chewing away nice and slowly there slows the research chamber down. And, well, it means I don't have to come up with more research samples quite so quickly. There's a kind of weird logic to that. I think that dates back to the old dial-up internet days. I used to like having about 8 different downloads running, as well as a browser and a chat session on, only a few kilobytes a second worth of bandwidth. So yeah, if you're not getting the most out of your connection, then what's the point? Anyway, as I got older, I got a bit less finicky that way. But I guess at the base of it all, I still have a bit of that going on in the back of my head. So yeah. Anyway, we have returned and we're having a bit of a look around at where the storm is. We think we're going to need to gather some more storm data. I thought the previous 8 would have been enough, but we may not have been quite as advanced as I thought. I thought in the first episode we ended up getting 8 units, but we may not have. It might have only been about 5. I've kind of forgotten. It's been a week or so since I recorded that session, and yeah. Anyway, so we're back here. We're going to gather some more storm data, and we're going to make sure that this time we have enough. Yeah, in this episode's whoops moment, I managed to slip down the side of the hill. I did fall far enough to take a bit of damage, but luckily it wasn't enough to kill me. I don't fancy that I would have wanted to have to climb back down here to get the storm data, but it's alright. We are working on digging our way out. This one's going to be a bit tight though, because we dig out to get to here. We're already halfway through our available oxygen, and yet we still need to get up to where our tether line is. So yeah, anyone want to place any bets in terms of whether we make it or not? We're just going to have to wait and see. Yeah, we made it. Couple of, couple of seconds to spare maybe. But we did have the opportunity while we were down there to notice that there was some clay. So that may come in handy later, and of course now we've got a path down to it. Now that we're back up the top here, we're going to get back to the storm and see how much more storm data we can gather. Alright, and we have our gathering back underway again. Hopefully this little tornado doesn't move on before we have a chance to get our load of storm data, but yeah, knowing my luck in this game, it probably will, but let's see. Yeah, sure enough, it's moved on, but we've got 8 lots of storm data here, so I think we might go for a run back to base and see what we can achieve with it. And hopefully this time we can work out what our actual next step is and possibly work on actually moving in the right direction. Anyone see that bit of movement there immediately to my left on the hab unit? You did? I didn't. I didn't spot it straight away. I was too busy focused on the mission screen. So now I've converted it all, and now, ha ha ha, there is our decipher, and there is the interface I was looking for. Yeah, I probably ground up entirely too much storm data to, yeah, for that particular step, but at least we know we've completed it correctly, and we know what decipher actually is. It's about the size of the oxygenator, and it's plugged into the side of the hab unit. So, yes, we're making some progress. We did get given a portable smelter, which is kind of sexy. And now our next step is we have to essentially hack the gateway, repair the gateway, and then power the gateway. So, that doesn't sound like too much of a challenge. Or is it? We'll have to wait and see. Alright, you can see the edge of the gateway there in the distance. The gateway is actually pretty much the eye of the storm. So we're going to run a path and a tether line out to that location. Because we've got the increased storm protection that we're able to unlock, it is taking the hacker a lot longer to get to our oxygen supply. That said though, it's still ticking down. And oh, now it isn't. Okay, so apparently the gateway is also in the eye of the storm where you won't get hacked. On the downside though, in my case, the gateway is actually quite elevated, so I've got to try and make a ramp up to it that I can use to climb. And yeah, the first couple of attempts have not been entirely successful. But we do get there in a moment. Okay, in today's episode of seeing interesting things and then pretending like you didn't see them, 5 minutes later is the that's the episode's core themes here. Where I picked that very interesting looking shard from is going to become important in a moment. But anyway, on with the mission. We plug this little hacked, giblet thing in there, and then we get a couple of these shards. And if you think that they remind you of what we did with the vault, you would be correct. As soon as you, just like the vault, if you lose the keys, you can just reactivate it and it will give you a new set of keys. Now, these shards, obviously they have a pattern on them, and I'm kind of looking around going, well, I don't see any patterns, but I'm almost, I'm almost screaming here loud enough to make myself deaf, and it's my, it's my in my head voice. But anyway, there's been several times where my camera has actually panned over the place where I actually need to put these things in. And honestly, I couldn't have selected this random path more randomly to not include a decent visual of, where that fancy little shard came from. But long story short is those two pieces that I have, those two shards, need to go into that bit of floor where the little fiery looking shard thing came from. And nope, still haven't spotted it. I'm sort of focused on the center here, and I'm like, no, this pattern does not line up with any of that. And there's no plug sockets there anyway. I'm still looking around. Seriously, you still haven't spotted the thing that you looked squarely at before. Okay, I'm going to stop recording my voice here for a moment while I have an external rant. I'll be back in a moment. Oh, hello. Yes. Dumb past self has finally remembered, oh yeah, we looked at this thing, didn't we? And it had something plugged into it, which means it has plug sockets. Oh, thank heavens. Okay, yeah, I was getting pretty, anyway. Less said, the better. So, just like with the vault earlier, you've got to align the keys to the pattern. Once you've dropped both in, it restores the gateway to a normal surface gateway. And of course, we need to power that. I have no clue as to how much power. I'm going to work on the fairly safe assumption that if it was a really huge amount of power, like for example the Calidor gateway, I would assume that they'd have probably unlocked the generator or something like that, the one that runs on carbon. So I'm working on the assumption that this particular gateway is probably 5-ish units of power, but we don't quite know that for sure yet. So we're just going to grab our generators, we're grabbing a little bit of organic, and we're going to get these suckers hooked in, and we're going to see if it's enough power. Oh, and that is powering up, so we're on the right track. Speaking of being on the right track, we are on the right track at the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you are not already subscribed. Yeah, maybe even hit that notification bell, you never know. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.